Now that we have our formgenix.com/build website ready, and we have our webs.com, and we went into site add-ons and we selected what forms, all this is ready now. We are ready to begin working on our contact form. And the first thing we have to do is we have to provide a name for the form. And because this is going to be invisible, this is not content that people will see, it will be part of the code, so we can just use the words all together like we've been using before with file names and that kind of thing. So you want to name your form contact info, and we have to enter something in the action. This is the command that tells the form where to send the information, and this is where webs comes in handy. So if you notice here, it says action equals, and it provides a URL for you to enter as the value of that action attribute. The other thing is that method is set to post, so we have to remember that as well. So what I'd like you to do is you want to copy that URL. Don't copy the double quotes. You're going to copy that, and you go back to formGenix, and you're going to paste it. And we said that the method was set to post. This is the way that the information is sent. So if you remember from websites that you've worked with, where you complete a form, and then all of a sudden the URL, the address bar at the top of the window has all these characters with ampersands and question marks and that kind of thing. When they do that, they are doing the get method. So what they're doing is they are attaching all the values of the form into the URL. But we're using the post form, and that method is just going to hide the data in a way that it doesn't show in the address bar. It has each method has its purpose. We're just going to use post because that's what webs is suggesting. And so once we're done with this, we're not going to worry about this and type. We're just going to click on add. Once we click on add, then we have a number of buttons here at the top that allows us to create different kinds of text areas, text boxes, select boxes, check boxes, and also to show the code once we're done with it. And we're going to create a really simple form. You may want to get more complicated if you want to, but it's not necessary. The form is just going to have a text box for having users enter their name, another one for email, another one for the subject of the message, and then a text area for the actual message. So what we want to do is we want to get started with text. And for this one, and notice that you have a display name and then you have a field name. So the display name is the name that people will see. First one we said it was the person's name. And the field name, you can actually use the same word. This is going to be code for identifying that the information that will be entered here is a name. The value we're not going to use right now. This is normally for when people want to have default values in the input field. For example, when you go to a website and it says search, enter your search term here, and normally what they do is that they type it here. We're not going to worry about that one. We're going to say required. We want people to communicate with us by giving us their names. Label access key is it's just like you have it here underlined. It's a letter of that word, that display name, that if people select it, if people type it on their keywords, the cursor is going to go automatically to that text box. And you're not basically you need to enter one of the letters in that word, and you just have to try to remember that you cannot use the same word for more than one text box. The next option that we have here is to set the size of the text box. And when you're talking about the size, you mean, you know, that how long the text box will be. Their default is 45. I want to say let's do a 50. It's you're gonna take a look at how at it in the example, and then you may change that. And when they talk about maximum length, it's actually you get to determine how many characters you will accept in that uh, text box. It's normally because you really don't know how long, you know, things like an email address or a name will be. It's not necessary, so you don't have to worry about it. Um, and then once you're done with these options, you can click on Add. Okay, and the page reloads, and you see the information you entered at the very beginning, and then you see the very first input input box created. We're going to do the same procedure uh, for an email address and the subject of the message. So we're going to use text. Again, you want to tell people the display name is the word that they are going to see in order to understand what they should enter in that field. The field name is just part of the code, and that's how the computer will identify the information that goes in this field. No need to put any default values. You want to say required because you definitely want to be able to communicate back with people. The label access key is the letter that people can press on the keyboard so that their cursor goes into that text box. And we changed the first one to 50, so we're going to do the same thing here. And now we have our two fields. One more time, and we do the subject of the message. No value required. You're going to use an S. I guess S is not an option, so what's the next letter? U. And again, we do something like 50. Add. And we basically have our first three fields, the name, the email, and the subject, and now we need to add an additional field for um, the actual message. So for that one, we're not going to use text because that only provides one line of text. We want to use the text area. And this is going to be the message. The code, the name for the field in the form code is message as well. We're going to make it required. We choose the M, and here we could bring it up to 45, and 6 rows should be okay. Again, these are values that you can adjust later on. We're going to click on Add, and we have a couple more fields that we need to add. If we go back to webs, they are basically they are adding a input field that's hidden. If you see here the word hidden, um, this means it's not going to be a text box that people will see. It's just going to be a piece of information to allow webs to know who you are, so who they should send the email to. So what we're going to do is in our form generator, we're going to create a new field. We're going to call it hidden. The name will be user ID, and this is going to be the value. So you're just going to copy that number there, no double quotes, and you remember it's a hidden field and it's the user ID. So user ID, and the value is the number that you bring from webs. Okay, and the way they represent it is by just entering the code here on this bottom part, but it will later on be integrated with the rest of the code. One last thing, webs is saying that if you want to present a customized confirmation message that that your form has been submitted. We will be reply to you as soon as we can, or something like that. They basically ask that you provide your URL for that page. So you would have to go and create a new page in Webs, um, and call it something like contact info confirmation. Maybe just a copy of the code from the contact info, and then you just say, thank you for submitting your information, blah, blah, blah. If you wanted to do that, you can, but then you would have to create another hidden a field with the value, and you have to make sure that you have the entire URL for that page. Otherwise, if you don't do that, then Webs is just going to show you a very generic, plain page saying your form data has been submitted or something like that. So this is not required, so you don't need to worry about it if you don't want to. And now that we have all these elements here, we are ready to get the code. So we want to click on the Show Code button. And because this is a free service, they basically want you to know that they would like a link back. And now you can click OK and close. I'm sorry, click close the window. They really will have that link back in the form, so you don't have to worry about writing down this address. So you have all this code here, and the thing is that now you have not only HTML but also JavaScript. And this JavaScript is what controls or provides the messages for people when they miss an input box, when they don't enter information in one required field. So what you want to do is you want to select all this code, and this is what they have done is that they have the form HTML, but they've also embedded all this in a table. If you can um, recognize that table tag and the TR tag and the TD tags, they basically have inputted this form in a table so that it's formatted nicely. So we want to copy all that code, and if you get a message from Internet Explorer and saying that the web page is trying to access the clipboard, it's okay. We do want to do that. And we come back to Webs, and what we want to do is we want to paste that code in our contact information page. And you're going to find the spot where you have that contact form heading, and you want to paste that there. So once that is done, if you want to, you can add a couple of words at the beginning, right before the form. So for example, right underneath your heading saying, if you have any questions about this website, please contact us, or something like that. Use the form below. A little message like that introduces the purpose of the form itself. Otherwise, you can save, and then you can preview your page. And there you have a form that is very nicely formatted. It automatically provides the asterisk to remind people that